I really don't know what's going on today. Maybe it's the fact that I spent a couple of hours watching Gossip Girl last night, season one, the first like 6 episodes, which I think are some of the best ones, and really set the tone and the mood for the rest of the show. Or there was a full blue supermoon last night, and I stuck my head out the window and looked at it for a few minutes while a bunch of screaming nut jobs out on the street were just screaming and shouting because they're miserable and psychotic. But I slept for 12 hours due to extreme amounts of electromagnetic frequency output being directed at me from the neighbor next door, the psychopath that the Greenville group has hired to engage in electronic harassment, stalking, surveillance, and electronic assault using some type of directed energy device that concentrates electromagnetic output that naturally occurs from different types of devices and aims it in a beam towards whatever she wants. She's a psychopath. She has nothing else to do, has got some serious mental health issues, and sits in the bathroom behind my kitchen sink for hours at a time, deliberately just getting disruptive and aggressive against that wall, including repeatedly smacking that wall when I'm standing at my sink so that I know that she's right there. Serious stalking issues on this nut job, and she never stops. She was blowing marijuana smoke from directly behind that wall about 25 minutes ago, just to let me know she's right there. The Greenville group keeps saying that the unit that she's in is vacant and empty and not rented, and they let her get in there anyway, or maybe she's getting in there without their knowledge. She can pick locks. She's picked the lock to my door multiple occasions while I was physically in this unit watching her do that, so I know she can do that. But it is around 1:15 p.m. now, and I'm still having my coffee. I woke up at 11:30 and just called my former employer because they seem to be discriminating against me because of my disability, denying me employment because I have visual issues, which is illegal. And I just got off the phone with their corporate HR team regarding that issue. And oh, wow, now I'm just getting like this, again, summer in the Hamptons feel. Today's August 20th. We're still in the middle of summer, kind of winding down a little bit, but it's still the height of summer, right? August is usually very lush, warm, summery. You can certainly go to the beach and not freeze your head off at the beach. But over the last few days, it's been a bit cool, gray, rainy, windy, and it has felt more like fall. So I guess today feels definitely like the first day of summer vacation all over again. And maybe that's what I'm picking up on. I also have a soulmate that has been engaging in some very bad behavior over the last few years. I have twin flames in the area as well and soulmates. But this has been the main connection for a while now. So if anybody knows what spiritual connections are, you don't find them on Match.com, or I don't know what those other dating websites are. I haven't been on online dating since the early 2000s, but you don't really find them on the internet. I mean, you can, but I've always met mine just being out and about, walking down the street, pretty much literally. They've often turned out to be in positions of power, even though that's not what I'm looking for. But for instance, law enforcement, detectives, not that there was a specific detective that was my soulmate that I can recall, but I'm just saying those types of people involved with the justice system as well. My twin flames actually were not in law enforcement. I had two twin flames that were probably the most magnificent, mind-blowing beings you will ever come across. And I worked with one of them for a whole year in the same company, in the same building, in the same department. I knew him pretty well. I worked with the other one for maybe 6 months, and he was like not in the same department, kind of down farther location-wise, but in the same building as well. They're both identical to each other, and they just both literally blew the roof off of whatever building they walked into. They are not in law enforcement. They were in another industry. But this current soulmate is part of the law enforcement, uh, world, I'd say. And he's been behaving in a very bad way. I was convinced that he was working for Satan. Certainly seems that way. His repeated actions against me were just beyond the pale, really. I mean, we're talking like literally going to town on somebody who hasn't done what you say they're doing and you keep doing it anyway. That is pretty evil, I have to say. But maybe he has found Jesus, or simply facts that would refute his aggressive actions towards me over the last few years. And maybe he has finally come to some kind of logical conclusion as opposed to prejudicial gossip and prejudice based conclusions. And maybe that's what I'm picking up on right now. I really don't know. All I know is that it feels like summer vacation, first day of summer, beautiful vibe. The screaming, shouting, low life scumbags out on the street that were standing outside my windows for about an hour and a half this morning have completely dispersed. Maybe the police showed up and told them to just cut the hell out. I don't know. But they stopped, so they're not there anymore, which is nice. And it's very quiet, and I love it. So maybe I'll just finish my coffee, even though it's like, what, 1:15 now? 1:20? I still haven't even gotten through half of it. And we'll see what's going on with my former employer that keeps denying me employment because I have a visual disability and I am extremely qualified to do the work that I've been applying for. I have 15 years of experience in that field, consistently working for multiple companies for 2, 3, 4 years at a time, even when these were part-time positions and I was working in science full-time or pursuing a PhD in clinical psychology full-time. I was still working in this other field part-time and consistently worked for the same companies for 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row sometimes. So that demonstrates competence, achievement, qualification. And when this current employer keeps weirdly denying my employment applications for jobs for which I have way more than the required levels of experience, education, etc., then they are guilty of discrimination. It's pretty blatant, I have to say. So again, I might just be better off suing them for discrimination rather than working for them on a daily basis and having to, earn salary hour by hour. I don't have a problem doing that. I've done that my whole life. But when an employer engages in illegal activities towards you based on your disability or what they perceive to be a disability, that is completely illegal and you have the right to sue them. So maybe I'll just do that since they are ignoring all my qualifications and education, my good work. I just called their corporate offices and said, hey, did I do something terrible? I mean, I worked for them 6 months ago. What the hell? And they said, no, there's nothing that's flagging your employment on our system as somebody who can't be rehired. So then what is the deal, right? What's the problem? Well, the problem is becoming to look like discrimination based on a disability.